Zhin is the newest champion coming to Paladins in OB52 and has just been announced by the hi-rez team. Zhin is titled the Tyrant, and they touched a little bit on his lore, and what they said is they already have lots of positive characters in the realm, and they don't really have somebody that completely classes as a bad guy, even classing Androxus as misunderstood. But the developers said that Zhin is a clear-cut criminal and the leader of a very dark organization called the Thousand Hand Guild. What role they play in the Paladins world is not revealed yet, but if the teasers are to go by, they didn't do anything good. So Zhin's design takes very much from East Asian-esque Chinese inspirations, and those criminal elements as well, with tattoos all over their body, which are also flames, which is his whole theme. And I've got to give it to the art team here, his animations are probably the best so far in this game, and you'll see those as I go through all of the abilities and mechanics of this new champion. So Zhin is a flanker, and we could see in the default build, Zhin had 2,100 health points, but this could be changed with cards and not be base. Going further into the nitty gritty, let's get into the abilities. So first off, the main attack, left click on PC, are slashes. What happens with your sword is you light it up with oil and basically have a lit up sword, and you slash it first in 2 hits horizontally, and then the third hit is vertical, and you put out your fingers in a very cool animation, and it almost looks like you're casting a spell as you fire it forwards, but also it almost looks like you're flicking out the oil and controlling the oil with some skill and turning those into damaging slashes. It is ranged and it doesn't have damage drop off, and the first 2 hits hit for 450 damage and the last hit hits for 700. Now although the projectiles don't have any damage drop off, the projectiles just disappear after a certain point, and that point doesn't seem that far away. It seems a very similar distance to Ash's flak that explodes at a close to mid range. The second ability is counter, and this is his right click on PC. What it does is raises your sword up to block attacks. What happens is, in the normal mode without the legendary card that I'll mention in a second, it blocks a single attack in your hitbox in front of you. It blocks any projectile, even projectiles like Pip's ulti, Mojo, and Sarah's ulti, and it literally blocks everything in front of you, even Drogo's ultimate, the developers have said, but again very limited to your hitbox in front of you, not like Androxus where you have a sort of invisible wall in front of you. He can't cancel counter whilst he's using it and come out the ability early, so basically if an enemy doesn't attack him, he's just going to be stuck in it. But if he is attacked, coming onto the legendary, it's called retaliation. And instead of 1 counter now, you can deflect for the whole duration of this ability and do continual damage. So especially against enemies that have large magazine sizes like a Victor shooting in front of you, they're going to proc off a lot of attacks. They're going to hit back at them. And again, each of these blocks is 700 damage. It is only in front of you, but could do a lot to chew somebody up. The next ability and Q on PC is Billow. What you do is you go into a smoke form where you get a little extra speed. It's almost like Grok's ghost form where you're invulnerable whilst you're in it. You are still visible as you travel in this sort of smoky fashion. Another legendary card worth mentioning is Smolder. What happens when you smolder is you get health back during this Billow ability. You get 60% of your maximum HP back during the duration. But what the developers did say that there are cards that increase the length of the Billow and can also increase that heal. The escape ability, or F on PC, is Whirl. Zhin goes into a spin and spins his sword around and goes forward and does 400 damage as he passes through people. It only hits a single enemy 1 time, but can hit multiple enemies as you go. It's a similar distance to Cassie's roll, but this time you're doing damage whilst in it. Finally, the ulti is Spite. What this does is it charges forward to an enemy, and if it connects, it levitates the enemy off the ground, stuns them, and starts slashing them in the air for 400 damage each time over 5 attacks. Now this ability looks incredible, and I have to really put it out there for the art team here. It looks like something out of Mortal Kombat, like a finishing move, or something out of a really over-the-top fighting game. It's just awesome. I've just got to give it to them. And this ulti can also be buffed with Guillotine, where instead of doing 400 damage each of your hits, you do 25% HP, so the maximum HP of the enemy on each slash. So instead of 400 each time, 5 times, but 25%. Now this works better on people that have a bigger health pool, but if you think about it, if you're doing 25% of the damage each of the slashes, then you're going to be doing up to 100% HP of the enemy most times, and even with damage reduction, you're still going to kill them. But healing and things like that could save the enemy whilst this is happening. Again, I have to say, this is probably one of the most epic champions to come out so far, and how they work is just really out there, and the animations are pretty incredible, and I think a lot of people are going to want to play this champion, and it is going to be very, very popular. Now on that point, will Zhin be any good? As always, it's all speculation at the moment, and very soon he will go up onto the public test server, and I'll hopefully be either doing a live stream or trying him out and then doing a video tomorrow on him and live streaming tomorrow, but we'll have to see exactly how they work out then. But let's have some speculation now and see how that works out. So first of all, the ultimate is quite interesting because it's almost like a bit of a worse Drogo's ultimate. You get somebody stuck in place, which means that your allies can take them down even if you don't do enough damage to kill them. And sure, you're vulnerable whilst you use that ultimate because you're going to be stuck in that animation with the enemy and the enemy team could burst you down, but you choose when to use that, so you're likely to use it when you know your allies can kill somebody quickly, or you know you can kill somebody and then move on to somebody else, or you're hidden from all of the enemy's fire. That ultimate guillotine could also come into play because it would assure some kills on the bigger tanks and quicker, and be basically another Drogo's ultimate in the game, and we know how big Drogo's ultimate can be, and basically taking out somebody guaranteed. My biggest problem with the champion, and I think where they might fall a little bit flat, is that they have no vertical movement, which is what only one of the champions in the flank lineup shares, and that is Skye. And Skye has been seen for a long time, especially in esports, to not really fit in. A big part of that is because they have no vertical movement, and they find it hard to chase down enemies that have decent movement as well, because they can get up to higher places, run away, get out of range. And combining the vertical movement and the fact that your attacks are so close and you have to be close to enemies to do damage, it just makes it hard for him to act as a flanker and a finisher, which flankers really fill that role. Because Cassie is sort of a flex where they can work as a flanker and a damage just sort of on the edge. I don't know whether Zhin does the same sort of damage, and they can't poke and then be flexible to go into the forefront. They have to be aggressive all the time, and even though they do have an invulnerability ability and a movement ability, so they've got two movement abilities going on, and also that counter, I'm not sure if it's enough for the champion, but all these three things might very well work together and make them very hard to take out, especially if the Zhin is able to hit all those counters off and use them at the right time. My thought on the counter ability, as with Androx's reversal, is that people simply won't fire at Zhin when he uses it. Now, it can be procced by an ally accidentally firing at a Zhin and then the person in front being killed by that, so it could be accidental fire. But in the high level games where people just see the Zhin using the counter, they're just going to wait until it's over or try and flank around him and damage him without getting the counter off. But again, Zhin does have a lot of aggressive abilities and will always be hoping to get the kill and then get out again. But will he be able to get out again? Will he be able to chase? We'll just have to see. What does everybody else think? Be sure to let me know in the comment section below. What do you all think about Zhin? Is he a good addition? Will you be playing him? Do you think he'll be the most popular champion of all? And will you be there on the PTS clicking in the same spot with a sticker on your screen on where Zhin will be and trying to pick up the champion as much as possible, and especially when it releases probably mid next week on live? And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to me for more, and I'll see you all next time. Joshino.